I moved to Poland with 2 suitcases, a not very warm coat, and zero Polish skills. And I mean it when I say zero Polish skills. And I thought, hey, I'm charming and Latino, I'll figure it out. Spoiler alert, I did not figure it out. In fact, I embarrassed myself so much at the Polish post office that I didn't want to go back after 6 months. So today I'm sharing my top 3 biggest mistakes that I made when I first moved to Poland so you don't have to make them too. So I live in Poland for 8 years now, and I think at this point everybody knows that. But looking back to the very first 2 months when I first moved here, I was a walking disaster. I made mistakes that still make me cringe today. Like I mentioned in the teaser that I posted this weekend, I once walked into the Poczta Polska feeling super confident, thinking that I could manage everything by myself. And I walked out feeling extremely defeated. So let's just start there with number 1. So just picture this. I wanted to send a box with souvenirs or candies from Poland to my family back in Peru, right? And I told myself, how difficult can that be? In Peru, when you don't know how to do something, you just smile, you just talk nicely to whichever person you're trying to talk to, and things will sort out. Everything will come into place. Trust me, everything will work out. I guess we call it the Latino Charm or viveza criolla, I guess, in Spanish. But I didn't know what was coming. So I had my package. It was like a small package, to be honest. It was not like a huge thing. And I told myself, let's do it. Let's go to the post office, Poczta Polska. So I went there, and if you ever been to a Polish post office, especially Poczta Polska, you know it can be terrifying. And I mean it. Once you walk in there, it's not there are no bright colors. It's very gray and kind of darkish, and it's completely silent. Nobody talks. People are just sitting, or people are just very anxiously waiting for their turn to get their packages or to send their packages, right? So I arrived there, and you have to take a ticket to get a number. So you get to one of these ladies that are behind the glasses, right? The first thing that happened was the machine. There was a machine there. Just picture there was just a machine there, and I didn't even know how to use it. I had no idea because there were no labels on the machine. There were just 4 different buttons, and that's all. So I was standing there for 5 minutes, not knowing what to do. So I just pressed 1, and then it gave me a ticket. And then also, if you're a foreigner, and if you're not really white passing, if you ever been to a Polish post office, especially where I was living in Katowice back in 2017, there were not many people of color, I would say. So as soon as I walked in there, everybody was staring at me. And I'm not kidding. I swear, if you ask to any single person that lived with me or studied at the same university back in 2017 in Katowice, they will agree. People would stare at you because you are different. I don't know if they're curious or they want you out of their country. I don't know, but they would definitely stare. That's definitely a thing. So I was standing there. I already felt weird because everybody was staring at me. I didn't know how to use this machine. I pressed a button. I got the ticket. I was just standing there waiting for my turn. And trust me, when you see there, the ladies behind the glasses, the ones that are going to help you or supposed to help you, they don't seem to be quite happy. They don't seem to be very energetic people. So it is very scary. It literally feels like you're applying for a visa to the USA or to some other country, right? So I just waited, and at that point I only knew how to say hello, good morning, dzień dobry, cześć, and that was basically about it. But in my head, again, as I said, I'm Latino, I'm charming, I can smile, what could go wrong? So it was my turn. I approached the lady behind the glass, and I said, dzień dobry, do you speak English? And the lady just stared at me in a way that it still haunts me. She didn't seem very happy that I spoke English to her. And then I just said, I want to send a package. And then she just continued to stare at me. And then it was silence. She didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. And then the worst thing, I felt already embarrassed because She was just staring at me, and I was like, "What's happening? Like, what? Like, do you need something from me?" And then everybody also like were staring at me. I guess because they knew that I guess you're not supposed to speak English. And then the only thing she said, she literally leaned to the mic, and she said, "Nie rozumiem," which in Polish, if you don't know Polish, that means I don't understand. And she was very angry. And like, here's the thing: back in 2017, at least in Katowice, it's a small town, right? And people don't really speak English there. And I'm not lying, like, trust me, you can ask again to people who live there. Whenever you spoke English there, they would get upset at you. And I thought that maybe with smiling, it would be different, but my smile didn't help. Um, Once she said "Nie rozumiem," I felt so embarrassed. I felt like I just wanted to run away. And I literally took my stuff and I said "Dziękuję," which means thank you, and I left. That lady traumatized me. It was the first time that someone was that cutthroat to me or with me, and someone was that a bit mean, I would say. Because to be honest, in Peru, if you're a foreigner, if you ever go there, if you don't speak Spanish, trust me and believe me that if you go there, you can use your hands, you can use gestures, and you can be like, "I'm trying to send something," and they will try to understand. They will try to help you. So that was the first cultural shock, and then I understood that you need to be prepared. You need to get ready. So my biggest advice to you, if you wanna go there, is first learn the basics. Good morning, I don't speak Polish, I need help. So you can say "Dzień dobry, przepraszam, nie mówię po polsku," which means I'm sorry, I don't speak Polish. And then you can say "Potrzebuję pomoc," which means like I need help. And I think it can also go a long way if you take a notebook and you write down what you need to do or what you want to do. For example, like, "Hey, I want to send a package to whichever country," or "Can you help me with this?" Or just on your phone. But I mean, what's happened to me before also, to be honest, if I'm honest, like I tried to use Google Translate and they didn't want to help me when I was doing that. They would get upset if I was trying to show them with Google Translate, or they would tell me, "You need to speak Polish." So, I that's what happened with that lady. I don't think I went back after months and months. And then after that, I was just trying to use the automatic machines where you put your package and it ships the package, right? So my biggest advice is that get ready. Know that you won't be able to just smile and things will work out. You need to get ready. Take someone from Poland, ask someone for help. And honestly, when you even just say "Przepraszam, nie mówię po polsku," which means I'm sorry, I don't speak Polish, or you just say anything in Polish, they appreciate that. Sometimes I think it helps a lot because they feel that it's cute that you're trying, and then they will try to help you. So don't make the same mistake as I did. Don't think that your charm is gonna help you. Be ready because it's very different here. So there I was. I walked outside feeling like a total failure. And as soon as I stepped out, it was freezing. Trust me, it was freezing. Back then, when I first moved to Poland, the temperature would go down to minus 25, like freezing, right? So this takes me to my second mistake, which is fashion over functionality. What do I mean by that? As soon as I step outside, I was freezing. Now, you see, I come from Peru. Not that everywhere in Peru it's hot, but where I come specifically from my city, it's summer all year long. When I say that, I mean like in our summer, peak summer, which is December, which is the opposite from Poland, it's like 40 degrees, 35 degrees, and then our winter is like 25, 26 degrees, 24 degrees, right? And people think that's cold. So even though I lived in Denmark before, I totally forgot how cold it can be here. So when I moved to Poland, I didn't take like a super thick winter jacket or coat, right? And that is a huge mistake. If you want to live in Poland, you cannot do that. Trust me. I remember that I had just like a winter jacket that I thought it was a winter jacket because I was like, whatever I have in Peru is going to work in Poland. When, spoiler alert, it doesn't work. So I remember that I was freezing to death because like trust me, minus 25 degrees, that is crazy. Minus 25 degrees, that is crazy, right? So I remember that I had to go literally to a thrift shop, because I like a secondhand shop, because I just couldn't. Like whatever I brought was ridiculous, was not gonna work here. Luckily in Poland there are many secondhand shops, and like you can find really good deals there, really good and like in really good shape clothes and winter jackets and coats, and they're very cheap. So that's my advice to you. If you are coming to Poland, do not, and when I mean that, especially if you come from like a country where it's hot or like exotic or tropical, don't waste money buying that winter jacket back in your country, because it's very likely that it's not gonna work here. Get used to layering. Layering, it's a big thing here. Be used to wearing like a huge jacket, a hoodie, then like a t-shirt under that, maybe under that like a heating t-shirt, because it is cold. It gets cold, especially if you're not used to that. It can be really a shock. And also your shoes. I have always been someone that never wore boots, because like why would I wear boots or like winter shoes in 45 degrees or 40 degrees back in Peru, right? And the first time I came here, I brought my Converse, I bought like loafers, I bought like just Nike shoes, Adidas shoes, and trust me, for winter, they are not gonna work. You may want to look cute and you may want to look trendy and stylish, but like I'm telling you, it's not really gonna help you, especially when it snows, because sometimes it does snow. You're gonna be freezing. Then after a while, if there's snow, your shoes are gonna be wet, your socks are gonna be wet, you're gonna get sick. So don't make that mistake. Bring good shoes, or at least buy good shoes here. Bring some kind of boots that will help you. That is definitely something that you wanna get right. I mean, trust me, when I said that it gets cold in Poland, it gets cold. At least not as cold maybe as before when I first moved here, but like as I said, it would go down to minus 25. And back then I used to have like a septum piercing, and then as soon as my lip would touch it, it would get stuck. Like it would glue to my lip because it was that cold. To be honest, I'm a huge fan of the cold. I loved it so much, you have no idea. But it would be so cold that my knuckles would bleed. So if you come to Poland, try to bring the right clothes. Get mentally prepared about how dark it will get in Poland, because in Poland when it's winter, it gets dark around 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. And sometimes if you're going to work, as in my case now, for example, when I wake up, it's dark. Then I get to work until 5, and I don't really see the light of the day because I'm in the office. And then when I leave, which is around 5, it's already dark again. So eventually I learned to buy a real jacket. You know, I felt like I was ready for the winter. I felt like I was ready to be outside, but there was still something that was bothering me or was not really letting me feel totally comfortable. And that was me smiling a lot. What? And what do I mean by that? Back at home, back in Peru, I was smiling a lot. And this takes me to my biggest mistake, number 3, which is the Polish smile versus the Latino smile. Back at home in Peru, or in Latin America even, when you see a stranger on the streets and you smile at them, they will smile back. You know, everybody's smiling, everybody seems to be very friendly, everybody seems to be very approachable. In Peru, when you go on the bus, you will always, maybe not always, but you will probably talk to someone, or someone will talk to you, and that is completely normal. When you go on a taxi, the taxi driver is going to talk to you. You're probably going to tell the taxi driver your whole life story. If you were cheated, if you're cheating on someone, whatever you did yesterday, what you ate, you know. If you go to a store, you start talking to the cashier, you talk about your life. You can make friends anywhere, basically. But in Poland, the story is very different. So when I first moved here, even though, I don't know why, to be honest, because I had lived in Denmark, and in Denmark it's quite similar. But then I moved back to Peru, and I guess I forgot that that was a thing. Or also, I thought like Poland is a new country, it's a different country, maybe it's gonna be different. I had no idea. So when I first moved here, I was smiling to everybody. When I was going to the store, I was smiling. When I would see someone on the streets, I would smile. On the bus, in the elevator. And that's not how it works in Poland. I'm not saying that people don't smile, but Polish people are known for their Polish smile or their poker face. So the thing is, whenever I would smile to someone, they would look at me so weird. They would think like I was trying to sell them something, or they thought that I wanted something from them, or they would be like, what the heck are you doing? For example, if you're on the bus in Poland, usually people put their backpacks next to them. If you're an expat, you will find that, or especially if you come from a country, like if you come from any country in Latin America, you will find that a bit discouraging. But it's just normal. I mean, I think you really have to get used to, or you really have to be open to the idea that not everything is the same everywhere and people act very differently everywhere. And it doesn't mean that they have something against you. Sometimes they do, of course, because to be honest, it's happened to me many times here that people were not very nice to me because I was a foreigner. But in general, it's just different traditions, different ways of seeing the world, different ways of understanding, I guess. I mean, just imagine this, right? So it's like minus 25 degrees. It's very dark outside, even gray. You get into the tram or any public transportation, everybody's freezing. And then you just enter smiling, like your smile is from ear to ear. And they're like, is this guy trying to sell us something? Did he lose his mind or whatever? So it's just very different. It's not that they are not friendly. It's just that they respect, or they want to respect your privacy and they want to respect their privacy. But to be honest, as soon as you get to know them, Polish people can be very nice, very friendly, and they can become friends for life. So far, I don't really have many of those, but I know it's true. I know many people that they were able to get through their shells, and they are very nice people. In general, Polish people, they are very nice. When you talk to them, when you actually talk to them, they are very open. They can be very understanding. Of course, you can find any kind of people everywhere in the world. Unfortunately, I didn't have many good experiences here, especially back in Katowice. But I can definitely talk about that in any other episode. But yeah, I mean, my advice is like, just come with a very open mind. Just know that people are not the same everywhere. Your culture is not shared everywhere. People are brought up in different circumstances. People have different customs and different ways of living. So don't come here with the idea that everybody will be the same or that things will be the same back at home. And trust me, that will help you a lot. That will help you understand. And also my advice is like to talk to people. Reach out to people who've lived here before and they can tell you how normal it can be. Like, for example, when I first moved here, I didn't know that this was a thing. I thought people were just being super rude and people were not friendly at all. But after living here for so many years, I even found myself not smiling anymore. When I go back to my country, I don't really smile. I think it's weird. I feel that Polish now. But as soon as I see that someone just moved here, especially from Latin America, I always tell them like, hey, be aware of this, just know that it's nothing against you. That's just the way they are. It doesn't mean that they hate you or they don't want you here. Sometimes they don't want you here, but but most of the time it's just the way they are. They have nothing against you or yeah. So those are the things that I will really encourage you to learn before coming here. Those are the things that you need to make some research before coming here. Don't be like me, because when I moved here, I literally, and I feel very embarrassed about that, I didn't know anything. I just wanted to leave Peru. I wanted to move to Europe. So I just said yes, and I came. And then as soon as I arrived, I was like, oh, interesting. So yeah. So from fighting with the lady at Poczta Polska to freezing in my not very winter-friendly jacket to finally learning that a serious face on the tram doesn't mean that they are rude. They're just being Polish. These mistakes were very tough at the moment, but to be honest, I wouldn't trade them for anything in the world. All these things that happened to me made me grow and made me feel more at home and helped me call Poland home. But I want to hear from you, whether you're an expat here or a Pole watching this, what is the biggest cultural mistake that you ever made or seen? Leave it down in the comments. I'm always reading the comments and I will be replying to them all week. And I'll be back next Monday with a brand new episode of the Expat and I'll be back next Monday. And I will be back next Monday with a brand new episode of the Expat Check-In. And guys, we just hit 500 subscribers and thank you so much for checking in with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you join the family. And also leave a comment down below. I'm always reading them. Thank you so much. Until then, see you soon. Nos vemos. Cześć.